Alabama's WVUA News at 10 with your award-winning news team. John Huddleston, weather with Richard Scott, and sports with Gary Harris.
The most powerful leaders at Penn State University, Mr. Spanier, Schultz, Paterno, and Curley, repeatedly concealed facts relating to Sandusky's child abuse from the authorities, the Board of Trustees, the Penn State community, and the public at large.
Report released 267 pages detailing Penn State's senior leadership's disregard into the safety and welfare of Jerry Sandusky's victims, everyone from the university president to late coach Joe Paterno implicated in the alleged cover-up. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. As the tension surrounds Penn State, college towns with prominent football programs are reacting to the fallout. WVUA's Victoria Sheehan has more on this historical scandal and what it means to college football.
Since November, Penn State's reputation had a slow demise, but the story went from bad to worse.
This will always be looked upon as one of the darkest hours in the history of American higher education.
Parents are sold a bill of goods, and one is that, you know, you can trust us to take care of your child and protect them and nurture them, and it was all a lie.
At some places, college football is king, but at what point is the reign of power too great?
The people who run the programs have way too much power, and it's scary. The way Penn State as a football program will be received is a huge question, and it certainly, I think, will have an effect. Schools like Alabama and, you know, Florida, LSU, all the big football powerhouses.
It's only a matter of time to determine Penn State's fate, but it may take longer to process Joe Paterno's legacy.
How do you balance 46 years of that as a head coach and 61 years overall with a tragic set of judgments in this circumstance?
I think his legacy is destroyed. It's a shame because, well, it's really not a shame because he was just a bad person, and the fact that he was the coach of a football team that won a lot of games doesn't change the fact that he was a criminal and he was somebody who was a despicable human being.
And that was Victoria Sheehan reporting. Moran says others, other than the victim's plight and the terrible circumstances regarding them, the saddest thing to him and others at the school is the fact that Joe Paterno cannot make amends or make things right. More than just a college football scandal, the alleged cover-up sheds light on the crime of child sexual abuse and the obligation we all have to report any abuse that we might witness or hear about. But do some people feel uncomfortable being the whistleblower in their work setting when they see inappropriate behavior? WVUA spoke with UA professor of law Brian Fair. He says always put the welfare of others before yourself and trust in federal laws and policies that protect employees' rights in those circumstances.
Many innocent children have their lives changed forever. So I would encourage employees to risk retaliation, to come forward, and then to seek protection against retaliation in the courts.
The chairwoman of Penn State's Board of Trustees says the board accepts full responsibility for the failures that occurred. On another note, another day and another good bit of rain outside. Let's get a first check on Alabama's home team forecast. For that, here's Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott.
Hey, John, good Thursday evening to you. Start you off a home team interactive radar. Still a little rain happening at spots out there, but not really much. In fact, really light stuff over the western part of the state. Southern Pickens County into northern Greene County, northern Sumter, northern Hale County. That activity is slowly moving off towards the north and east. Other showers happening over portions of Marion and Winston counties and Coleman County. But around here, we're starting to dry things out. The rain really dissipating on radar over the past several hours. That's been the trend. In fact, the heavier rain by far happening this afternoon, this evening, down over Sumter and Marengo counties, getting a good dousing of rain, but that activity again weakening as it does move on towards the north and east. Now, here's the forecast for Friday. It's going to be a mild, muggy day, but the cloud cover, the rain will cool things off across the area as temperatures top out in the upper 80s. Once the rain settles in, it'll cool temperatures off back in the 70s again as that rain-cooled air moves in. How about the weekend forecast? Plus, look ahead towards next week. Home team weather is coming up.
All right, Richard, thank you. The Tuscaloosa City School Board is committed to building back the 3 schools damaged or destroyed by last April's tornado. But because of the families being displaced and relocated, how does the school system know how many students will come back? WVUA's Travis Leader finds out.
The Tuscaloosa City Schools is working with the city to figure out just how many kids will come back to these tornado-ravaged school zones.
They have accumulated for is where people are living or moving back into the Alberta area, the University Place area, so that we give a good understanding or an idea of how many people are actually in the area.
And here's what the school system hopes to do with this information.
The questions then lie how big, the type of curriculum that we will have there, and how do we want to pursue the best interest for the neighborhoods and the best interest for the schools as well.
Simmons and Lucas represent the 2 school zones hit hardest by the April 2011 tornado, and both say they have no fears from what the demographic study may show.
Whatever they do to enhance the population there is just going to enhance the capabilities of what we can do at that city school for the city of Tuscaloosa.
Simmons even says if the study shows a drop in the University Place public school population, a smaller school could provide a stronger learning experience.
I think we all want smaller classroom sizes. I think that benefits the students tremendously. So if the schools have to be smaller, I for one would definitely support that.
The school board hopes to receive the results of the study in the next month. In Tuscaloosa, Travis Leader, WVUA News.
And Simmons says there is still the option for University Place to become a magnet school. He also says curriculum decisions will not be made until after the school system receives the demographic study. Even 15 months after last April's storms, groups in the community are still looking to lend a helping hand. Rebuild Tuscaloosa partnered up with Arby's earlier tonight to raise proceeds that will go directly to disaster relief centers. 5 Arby's across Tuscaloosa donated 15% of the 3 hours of sales to disaster relief. Founder of Rebuild Tuscaloosa, Leah Bromley, says there are still areas in that community that need aid.
There's still so many people that need a lot of help. You know, if you go out to Holt, Alberta, Rosedale, you see a lot of untouched structures, untouched homes, and those are people that are they can't afford to get back on their feet as fast as they would like.
Well, we're hoping that we get great response from it, and this may be something ongoing, more in the future, different things. And we'd like for other, organizations to pretty much jump on the bandwagon, and we'd be more than happy to do some things, for them also.
Rebuild Tuscaloosa plans to use the funds collected to help in recovery efforts such as cleanup, food shelter, and emergency services. A Tuscaloosa woman is dead tonight after a fatal car crash this morning. It happened just after 5 o'clock on Mercedes Drive in Vance. According to state troopers, the victim was 40-year-old Melanie Gentile. Mercedes did confirm she was a team member. Troopers say there was another vehicle in the crash, but no one else was injured. Authorities say Gentile was wearing a seatbelt. The wreck is still under investigation. Wells Fargo has agreed to pay $175 million to settle allegations that it discriminated against minority borrowers. The bank is accused of charging African American and Hispanic borrowers more in fees or pushing them into costly subprime loans. The Justice Department says more than 30,000 people were affected between 2004 and 2009. Wells Fargo denies the accusations. They say they're settling the case to avoid going to court. The Senate has rejected a Democratic bill providing tax breaks to companies that enlarge their payrolls. The vote was 53 to 44, 7 votes shy of the 60 needed to overcome GOP procedural hurdles. The Democratic measure would have given 10% tax credits going up as high as $500,000 to companies who add workers, make major purchases, or plan improvements. That amount would cover new hires for raises for existing workers. The roll call came after senators struck down a Republican version that would have provided a tax deduction to U.S. companies with fewer than 500 employees. On your home team election watch tonight, the chatter surrounding the president's affordable health care continues. Likely Republican nominee Mitt Romney has said in countless times that he wants to repeal the president's